course, you've got lots of free time now, because TV script writing is a real degree, and I know this because I did it. Much respect to everybody who does screenwriting here, but you guys know the journey of the web because of the stuff that you did today because of a degree. So I had lots of free time. So when you have free time, you should make friends with people in your script writing class, and then you should figure out that you need more money for the tennis club at UCT. And then you should try to make money with those friends. And the friend that I made money with is a guy called Roy, who I met in my TV script writing class. And we used to sell T-shirts with Al Pacino's face on it, which I will mea culpa in the presence of creatives admit that no, we didn't pay for a license for that. Yes, we did sell a lot of T-shirts, and we made a lot of money for the tennis club. And then we went on to our respective jobs, which is what we did for 4.5 years. So if you study TV script writing, but you came from law, you're not really very talented at TV script writing. So what you should do is go to a creative company in Cape Town that will hire you because they feel sorry for you generally. And then you should sit out there for a couple of years. Which is what I did, and what Roy did. But we were at two separate companies. One day, we met a guy called Robert Wilkinson from a company that some of you may have worked at before, called Butler's Pizza. Butler's decided to advertise with our creative business, and by Serendipity, I was the guy managing the account, and I had to do a stunt with Bob, which happened to be delivering pizza to a ship. I promise there's an explanation for this. Okay, so, does anyone remember that trawler that got stuck on Clifton Beach? Aihatsu Maru was the actual name, which none of you paid attention to at the time. It got stuck there, and we realized after a couple of days that there was a dog on board, and there were a couple of guys who were stuck there, kind of through no fault of their own. They were sent by an evil corporation to drag fish out of our seas, and they weren't supposed to be there, and they found out on the beach. And they were stuck there, and they couldn't get off because they had no visas. So they ran out of food, and their dog doesn't have any food, etc. and so on. So we go to Battles and we say, surely these guys need some pizza. Battles goes, they do. So I had to sort out the logistics for getting these guys across the police tape onto the beach and get it filmed with a film crew. So we did that.
They just said prime real estate on Clifton Beach, and we just came here. Eh? I mean,
and looked for a big ass boat. We got a translate system. I got Google Translate and just typed in what he said, and popped up that they needed pizza and a bone for the dog.
They're not Thai, mildly Japanese.
This one?
That one?
No, that's upside down shit.
Surely, guys.
I don't know.
Pizza! Pizza's here! Come get it! Pizza! I'll get the bottom.
We're the lovely pizza delivering team.
The waves are killing us, but geez, just trudge through it, eh?
We're not Cape Town's #1 for nothing, eh?
But we hope the bone reaches the dog. I would say a solid 18 and a half minutes. Hey, Big Luke?
19.
Maybe.
19.
The pizzas were still steaming when they went on board.
They're still steaming now.
Water's cold, but flip the pizzas are warm.
Okay, so we happen to be in a particular office park in Woodstock. Roy, my friend who I made at university, his business happens to move into the same office park, and Roy's a smoker. And I am getting tired of being at my job, so I pretend to be a smoker and take the same smoke breaks as my colleagues. So we're on the smoking balcony, and I bump into Roy, and I go, hey man, what's up? And he goes, hey, do you work here now? And I go, I've always worked here, do you work here now? And he goes, yes. I go, that's fantastic. Anyway, so fast forward a couple of weeks, and we meet up pretty much every day to smoke and or play foosball and smoke. And we both discussed the fact that we're pretty tired of our jobs and we want to move on to something new. So we go, we had a really good time selling t-shirts of unlicensed pictures of Al Pacino's face at university, and we were pretty good at that. So why don't we start a business together? And that was literally the rationale. It's why did we start the business? We had no idea what we were going to do. Again, I cannot overemphasize the level of ignorance with which this whole process was involved. So we said, cool, let's sell something. We know that we're pretty good at selling stuff, and we're pretty certain that the business is going to fail. So we've got to sell something where, when the business fails, the product was so obviously not a part of the failure that we have to learn from what the other issues were, and then we can move forward. So Roy goes, great, let's sell coffins. So I take a drag of a cigarette, and I don't smoke. And then we think about that for about 30 seconds, and no. No. Mom's not going to like that we sell coffins. Let's sell the opposite of that, the other end of the circle of life. Let's sell nappies, right? Because people can't control themselves, and now they have babies. And therefore there'll always be the need for nappies. Cool, let's sell nappies. We have no money. We're 24, turning 25 already, we have no money. We have any money that we had, we were spending on the first iteration of Superfluous. We were buying like metro things in Paris and stuff. So we had no expendable cash. So we decided we've got to sell it online, because online is free, right? And Takealot's cheap. What I mean by Takealot is cheap is we went to large retailers like Mass Cash and Macro, etc., to go look at the price of nappies, and they were more expensive than what we could afford, which is saying a lot, because you can buy like a 5-litre tub of mayonnaise in Macro for like 10 rand. So Macro is too expensive. Then we went directly to the source of Procter & Gamble, and the other one that I can't remember. Anyway, they were too expensive too, because we had no credit history. So they said, we'll let you buy a room full of nappies, but it'll still be relatively expensive. At the time, Takealot had just launched. Takealot was trying to kill Kalahari at the time. And Kalahari sold DVDs and books about parenting, which, if you have a child, people tend to buy those things. So in an effort to kill Kalahari, Takealot was selling nappies for about 50% the price that you get if you bought a room full of nappies from the source. They're just throwing money down the black hole, burning it. So that when people bought the nappies from Takealot, they'd also buy the DVDs and the books from Takealot, and they might kill Kalahari. And we know from the fact that you can't go to Kalahari anymore, that was successful. So we bought from Takealot, piecemeal. So somebody would order a diaper, or a set of diapers, from our website, and they would specify the day that they wanted it delivered on. We wouldn't let them buy on demand. We would say, no, we're a subscription service, understand? And you can only have it on Tuesdays or Thursdays, but you can't have it every single day. But we will deliver it at the exact hour that you want it on one of those days. Now that wasn't because we were super smart about what people wanted, it's because we couldn't get the nappies before somebody had given us an order, and then we'd buy them from Takealot. So I told you it would be embarrassing. So somebody would order a new subscription, and Monday would roll around, and we'd order from Takealot, and Takealot would deliver to us, and then we'd deliver to the person and make a profit. And when I said that we had no money, it extended to the naming of our business. So we knew, because we're an online store, that we needed a .com URL. There were new URLs coming out at the time, like .store and that kind of thing. It was kind of newfangled, and we were dead set on the fact that we needed a .com URL. Just a heads up if anyone's planning on starting a business, there are no .com URLs left, unless you buy one. And again, no money, right? So we downloaded a CSV file of all the .com domains available for free. And then we ran a filter in Excel, and we found stuff that had actual pronounceable syllables in it. One of them was wum.com, WUM.com. Roy's a black guy, and Roy goes, I know what we can do. Even though I'm from Joburg, and I haven't spoken to Sutu in about 15 years, what we're going to say is that wum means Mtwana Wami, my baby, reverse engineering, right? Okay? So wum.com, and that's what we're going to call it, and ta-da. I have a company. And this whole buying from Takealot thing and then delivering to people at the time that they asked for it was kind of working out. Somehow we were growing. Now we weren't growing in the sense of Uber growing, but we were certainly growing in the sense of 25-year-olds or idiots growing. And we quickly got to about 100 customers, just in the general Cape Town area. Not through any marketing, just through word of mouth. And we didn't expect that. And Roy only had a Ford Fiesta and I only had a Ford Figo. And both of those vehicles have limited space in them. And we just couldn't deliver all of the nappies in a given day anymore. So we decided to outsource, like any ignorant, well, definitely ignorant, but any common sense person would do. We decided to outsource to Courier, to the Courier Guy, to Aramex, and Fastways, respectively. And we sold a lot. So those guys, we would go to them and say, okay guys, how we've been doing deliveries is we've been delivering between 9 and 5, yes, exactly like you, but we've been giving people the opportunity to say I want it at 10, and then we deliver between 9:55 and 10:05, and the customer's very happy. Also, we follow instructions, so if the customer says I don't have a doorbell, we text them. If they say please don't text me, or if they say please don't call me, please text me because I'm at this time of day when you deliver, I've just put my baby to sleep. And if you ring the doorbell or phone me, my baby will wake up. And then I will smother my baby. And then I won't need to be So we said, yeah, that makes sense. Also, don't kill your baby. Take a lot, Courier, Aramex, etc. They go, that's totally cool. We completely understand. That's fine. Great, we'll do it like that. And for the first week that the account manager remembers your name and your business, it goes like that. They do it really well. Because they do. They're not evil businesses. They do want to please you. But after a week, you become part of the 19 parcels that one driver picks up and drops off a day, which is literally our entire customer set list. Just one of their drivers out of like 45 operating in the general area. So you get lost in just the scale of their business. And they start delivering exactly like they do for the rest of their businesses, between 9 and 5, with no heads up and with the standard doorbell ringing or whatever the case might be. And we started churning customers. So we churned about 3 customers a week with each of these companies. And when you have 100 customers, that's really painful. It hurts a hell of a lot. So we decided we had to find a solution. We had to in-house our own delivery fleet. So we remembered the pizza guy, remembered Bob, we remembered the ship was stunt. And we remembered that he liked us. He liked me. I didn't know why that was gambling, but he liked me. So I bought him lunch and I picked his brain. And I said, Bob, how do I do my own deliveries? You've been doing deliveries for 25 years in Cape Peninsula. How does one do deliveries? How do you create your own network? And he told me. He was very generous with his information and he was really cool about it. And he told me everything I needed to know to recruit drivers, to manage them, how to pay them, when to pay them. It was just very cool. Basic stuff, but good knowledge to have. And then he said one thing before I left. He said, I'm still running my business on software that's like 25 years old that I wrote myself in the silver kitchen. And it really bums me out when Claremont is really, really busy, but the guys from the town branch can't go there programmatically. Somebody has to call them. And if their music's loud in their car or they've got their girlfriend riding on for the night, they're just not going to answer their phone, and then there's going to be too many guys at town and not enough guys at Claremont. And it's one of the parts of my business that bummed me out. Because that makes a lot of sense. So he goes, I don't know if you've heard of this company that's just launched in South Africa. They're not that big yet. They're pretty big or something. There you go. He says they've got technology where they programmatically assign a task to a driver based on the proximity to where the pickup is. And you should think about that for your business. So I go, I will. And then I walked up to the one I didn't. So we built our own in-house fleet, and we accidentally found out what it was that people were using us for in the first place. When we had our own in-house fleet and we went back to the customers that they were using, we now want to go on deliveries again. We're not going to be doing it by a courier. Come back and tell us why you left in the first place. And they said, it's because we got to choose the hour that it was delivered to us. Not the time slot, like morning or afternoon. Because we have stuff to do for their parents. And we're also doing other stuff besides being parents. We're working or we're doing a million things. And we want to know when the thing's coming so we can plan our day. Because otherwise it just sucks. It's an anxiety-filled process. So that made a lot of sense. And we pretended like we knew that the whole time. Yeah, it was just an issue of scaling, guys. Sorry, that won't happen again. But yeah, that was our philosophy the whole time. And then we did take the knowledge and we did actually internalize it. And we started going around to this business park that we're in and telling other people around the business park that this was the better way to do deliveries. So we would go, and that's why you should deliver between 10 and 11. So don't you want to buy some nappies from us? And the guy would go, I'm a 55-year-old man. Much older than your age. I don't have any magnets, but I do have all of these leather laptop covers here that I make. And it sounds like a cool idea, and I deliver about 15 a week, so don't you want to do those? And we would go. So we did. So we started picking up more work from people around the office park about blabbing about our new approach to doing deliveries apart from in a different way to the incumbents. And we delivered furniture, we delivered fish, we delivered laptop covers. And finally the frigging penny dropped. We realized that we could make more money from doing deliveries for businesses than from selling diapers alone and doing those deliveries. We kind of took a step back and we looked at ourselves as a potential customer for a delivery service. We were a business trying to get something to a customer, and customers were having a frustrating experience with the business without doing things a certain way. There's an actual photo right now. Okay, so we realized that we needed to learn how to do deliveries with stuff if we're going to be servicing other businesses. Do deliveries with stuff that had expiration dates. So nappies are actually very easy to deliver apart from the bulk of them. And the jargon is last mile basis. So like to the customer's door, they're actually really easy to deliver because they're generally really well sealed. They're not going to spill anywhere before use. They're easy to deliver. So we figured that we had to engineer a way to learn how to do deliveries because we had to use script writing degrees and didn't have logistics degrees. So we created a fake business. Well, it was a real business, but it was for the purpose of learning how to deliver something quickly. And what better marker of whether you delivered something quickly or not is melted cheese. Because let's be honest, if a toasted cheese sandwich is delivered badly, you're going to have hard cheese and soggy bread, right? You have two immediately indicative markers whether the delivery went well or not. So we spun up the grilled cheese club, and people could tweet us for a grilled cheese, and we'd have to respond on demand, so no more scheduling, and they would pay by Snapchat. That was a lot of fun. It was incredibly painful for the first couple of weeks because we knew nothing, but we learned a hell of a lot about scheduling, about placement of drivers, about what the architecture of future software might have to look at for passing tasks to them. Literally just did it manually by a spreadsheet. And that's like some of we did well, got some good reactions. And then we had to get on with business. So following the grilled cheese club, we knew that the knowledge gap between what we were planning to do and what we did know was incredibly vast. And that was one of the first moments where we realized that if we had known how hard it would be before we started, we wouldn't have done it. But we were here now, so we did it. So we knew that we knew nothing about a scalable delivery network. So we switched to on-demand now, right? Which is a totally different thing from like telling drivers in advance about something that needs to be delivered. And we knew that in order to scale that delivery network, we remembered Bob's words about programmatic assignment of tasks. And we knew that we didn't know how to build that software. So we smoked. So Roy smoked. I hung up with Roy. There's an incubator on the fourth floor of the Woodstock Exchange called Cape Town Garage. I'm not sure if it's still there, but it certainly was 3 years ago. And there are developers at the Cape Town Garage, and there's also a balcony where one can smoke. So Roy smoked there. And we would just talk about programmatic assignation of tasks to drivers, which is an incredibly boring conversation unless you're a developer. If you hear that conversation while you're smoking if you're a developer, most developers vape nowadays, if you guys know. Actually, the reason for all of the smart guys is not the rain. So a guy called Wilson happened to be on the balcony, and he heard our conversation a few times, and about the fourth time that he heard the conversation, he said, I'm working on a mapping solution here with my company as a contractor, and it's boring as hell. But I am good at geolocation, because that's what you need, and I would like to build this thing for you, because you guys are obviously ignorant, judging by the way that you dress. He said, you are so right, Wilson. How much? And he said, I'll do it for you for the princely sum of 70,000 rand. So, which is actually incredibly cost effective for a developer. Their skill set's really rare and they're good at what they do, so that's the amount of work involved is a good price. So we said, cool, done. I don't know if you remember the few slides ago we had no money, so that's still the case. So we smoke again, except that this time we smoke with a friend at an art gallery opening, and there happens to be a German guy there, Philip, and he had euros, and we blabbed about the new way to do deliveries, and we said, you know, for the exchange rate at the moment, it's like kind of 10 to 1, so it's not that many euros if you're going to pay for the software development for it. It's like, and Hans said, yeah. So once we had Hans on board, it was pretty easy to get another person called Sarah, because obviously proof of concept, you have another investor, they're keen to get involved. So we did. So Wilson built OneDrop, the first iteration. It was terrible compared to what it is now, but the same guy's been building it, and the reason why it was terrible was born out of our ignorance, because our spec was so bad. The guy was basically shooting in the dark, but he's an incredibly talented human being, and he is, if our company had more than like 8 employees, he would be called the CTO, that was the lead developer. And he built a driver app, he built a dashboard for us, and he built an ordering platform for our customers. And Run One became Run Drop. That's why we've got such a weird name. It's because we tried to remember the process that led to doing this in the name. Yeah, so pretty quickly after building this thing, Uber is becoming more of a dominant force in South Africa. It's now first quarter, going into second quarter of 2014. I hate this question so much, it's so annoying, but I answer it all the time. What if Uber does that? We wanted the same thing. Uber launched a thing called Uber Rush in the United States in the second quarter of 2014. And it still isn't launched yet, but that didn't stop it from influencing us. We realized that if we were going to be a company to customer, business to customer delivery service, and if Rush launched here, we would be squished quick fast, and then we would owe 170,000 Rand, which is more money than 25-year-old selves had at the time. So we figured, okay, cool, let's take a good look at what Uber does. We determined that Uber is fundamentally a consumer-facing business, and they will always target consumers first, because that's where the biggest margin is. They will also launch in major European and US cities first, and sometimes Asian cities, because that's where you have the highest population density, right? So within a 5-kilometer radius of this building in New York are significantly more people than a 5-kilometer radius of this building in Cape Town. So we said, okay, that means that while we can't let them influence what we do in terms of changing our philosophy for how we do deliveries, we can plan smart so that if they launch here, we won't necessarily be competing with them head on, we'll be kind of walking in the feet of elephants. So we did. We made a spiritual decision then and there that OneDrop would be a business for businesses, and that we would build an API, an application protocol interface, to be able to link in with ERP systems. That is an incredibly boring sentence, I know, but big companies are incredibly boring. And to link in with ERP systems of big companies, and that we would programmatically have orders sent to us from them in order to execute this new philosophy of delivery, and that we wouldn't be attacking consumers like we had initially planned with the grilled cheese thing. And we made that decision. So we figured out what Uber was doing, we just looked at their general plan of attack, and we decided that we would do something different. And it's, well, I won't speak it. So we built really fast. And then we did ask people to pay for it. We asked people to pay for this delivery. Your mom doesn't count. She will pay for anything. At least the first or second time. Then mom gets pretty brutal. Sorry guys, this is not actually such a good thing, and I have a mani-pedi to get you later. So that's super important. Once you've built, you guys know this, once you've built a thing, if you're guessing the direction that you're going, get people to pay for it as quickly as possible, because nothing determines the value of the thing that you've made more than if somebody's willing to put money. Eat bags of sand together. Yeah, okay, so when you build something and you get people to pay for it, you're going to get a lot of pushback because what you're doing is bad. What you have to do at this point is cultivate a lot of grit in your business. So you have to go, that sucks and that's terrible, and we just spent a lot of money doing that, but as a business, culturally, we're going to decide that when bad things happen, we get on with it, we figure out the solution, and we move forward. And that was because of stuff that would happen later in the business, which I'll get to soon. That would become one of the most important cultural decisions that we made as a business. Transport sucks and it's messy, but more than that, any business that you do is messy and it sucks, especially if it's your first one. And if you don't have your whole team agreed that when things go bad, you're going to pull together and start pulling apart, then you will pull apart. That was the first kind of couple of weeks of One Drop. Those are some of our early drivers. There's Thomas, there's Jeff, Roy's on your right hand side of me. I failed maths in high school. And there's Reggie. So pretty quickly after we got people to pay for this, it was a good idea. And we started to get kudos for it. We won MTN App of the Year, which was great. And we got some money, which was awesome, but more importantly, we got validation about the fact that what we were doing was the right way to go, to pursue companies to do their deliveries instead of pursuing people. So we won Best Enterprise App, and then we won Best App overall at 2015 MTN App Awards. That was in September 2015. Sorry, August 2015. And then Roy quit a month later. That sucked. Oh my gosh. Wow. That was like being stabbed in the stomach with a rusty dagger. It really was the worst feeling in the whole world. Just... I suppose I gotta get out of bed today. And then I got depressed, genuinely. Again, because no money, and this is not, I do not recommend that this is the path that you pursue if you ever suffer from any kind of depression or mood disorder. You must go to a doctor. Do that. But if you have no money and you're 27, 26, 27, you don't go to a doctor because you're like, well, Roy just quit and now we have less money. So, I guess I'm just going to eat stuff. Not very good stuff, because again, no money. But at this point, I relied on my team a lot because they were set in this culture of grit, and they carried on. When I was going to work and watching YouTube videos for 7 hours a day because the joy of life had been sucked in my soul. And they carried on, and they knew what the mission was, and they continued to build when they lost direction. Because Roy had left, and the guy that remained was a bag of goo. And then we turned the corner. So, because our team was set in that culture, they carried on, and I eventually came right. And they had remained obsessed with the consumer experience and the customer experience. They remained obsessed with the fact that we have to do a delivery the way a customer wants and not just the way the delivery company says it should be done because it was founded in the year that PW worked at declared emergency. So they remained obsessed with the company experience, and they continued to build for that. They solved real problems, like, for example, in South Africa, the fact that not everyone has addresses, and we still need to deliver to them. Somebody who lives in Khayelitsha has an address sometimes that's like NY92, and it's not their fault, and they still need to buy stuff from the internet. So how do they get something delivered to them? So we built products for the South African experience because we remained customer obsessed, and our team remained customer obsessed. And that culminated in the building and the launch of a thing called Deliver to Me with the Fashini Group. We built it in June last year, and it launched with them October last year. This is a quick little video about Deliver to Me. But yeah, so because this was a great solution, the reason why it's a great solution, by the way, is because something like Uber is a geolocation app, right? It's a native app. Somebody can locate, a company can locate your location from that native app. But there are two main concerns there in South Africa. One, downloading an app generally onerous experience for a lot of people, especially when data is a concern. And number two, large retailers, which again we're targeted because Uber, don't like building apps. They might not have an app. They might have an app, but they might not also. So Deliver to Me is a way for us to geolocate you within a period of about 2 hours, up to a period of 2 hours, by sending you a mobile link. You click it, it opens a web app, and those web apps have service workers, which achieve the same function as geolocation and ring fencing as a native app, except that it's more properly compliant and the retailers don't have to build an app, and therefore they like it, and therefore the retailers started to get jealous of the machine group. Which brings us closer to now. So we started to get other clients. We got Game, we got Macro, we got Builders Warehouse, Y Group servicing brands like Tops, Discount, Standard Bank, and Zando. And we started to build up a head scheme. And the API call had really, it was a good one, it turns out, because all these guys like plugging an API into their system. And once you plug the API in, because corporates move at a snail's pace, you're not going anywhere for a long time unless you really step up. So we started to build a really good bank of retail clients, to the point where, ta-da, a multinational retailer made us say an offer that we couldn't refuse. And then you go to the Seychelles for a bit. It was so cool. Also, their rum is way too strong. And that's where we are today. That was really recent. Like, we're talking super fresh weeks. There's actually a game transport supplier in the audience who I met a couple of weeks ago as an introduction. So it's super fresh, and we're doing a lot of building, but we have this retailers support, and we're in a really good space. And it's because of the culture of grit that our team cultivated. We have the most incredible team. These guys, I would do anything for them. They have done anything for us. That's Wilson, the most empathetic human being in the whole world, charming mofo. That's Paul, very rarely seen without his headphones. I couldn't get a good photo of Zakile without him scowling, because he's our QA and testing guy. So he's just like permanently frowning at the screen of stuff that Paul and Wilson have built. So that's his back. And then recent additions are Frank and Zad as well, and they're also legends. And that's how you go from almost dying to starting your own business. So yeah, thank you.